There exists an ancient text that has endured through centuries, wars, pandemics, and countless human tribulations, remaining a beacon of hope and protection for millions of people around the world. This text is Psalm 91, known as the Psalm of Divine Protection, or the Psalm of the Shelter of the Most High. Its words carry such deep spiritual power that soldiers took it into battlefields, mothers recited it over their sick children, and travelers spoke it before long and dangerous journeys. But what makes this psalm so special? Why, even in the 21st century, with all our technology and scientific knowledge, do so many people still turn to these ancient words in moments of anguish, fear, or danger? The answer lies in the profound nature of the protection it offers. A protection that goes beyond the physical and reaches the spiritual and emotional dimensions of our existence. Psalm 9:1 was not written in a time of peace and tranquility. Although its authorship is uncertain, many scholars believe it emerged during a period of great affliction, possibly in times of war, plague, or persecution. Some attribute it to Moses, while others suggest it was composed during the Babylonian exile or amid the constant threats faced by the people of Israel. What we know for sure is that this psalm was born from humanity's most basic need, the search for safety in a dangerous world. It is not a theoretical text written by someone untouched by hardship, but the words of one who knew fear, uncertainty, and human vulnerability intimately. And that is precisely why its promises resonate so deeply within our hearts. He who dwells in the secret place of the Most High shall abide under the shadow of the Almighty. The psalm begins with one of the most powerful images in all spiritual literature, the idea of dwelling in God's secret place. This is not about an occasional visit or turning to God only in times of despair. The word dwell implies permanence, making that place your constant home. The secret place of the Most High is an impenetrable fortress, a hidden refuge where no enemy can reach us. And under the shadow of the Almighty evokes the image of one shielded from the scorching desert sun, from violent storms, from lurking dangers. It's worth noting that in the biblical context, shadow always represents protection and refreshment, never darkness or fear. I will say of the Lord, He is my refuge and my fortress, my God. In Him I will trust. Here we find something crucial. It is not enough to believe silently. We must declare it. I will say is a verb of action, a proclamation. When we declare our faith aloud, something powerful happens in the spiritual realm. We are not only affirming our trust, but also driving away the forces of fear and doubt. The three descriptions of God, refuge, fortress, and the one we trust, form a triple layer of protection. The refuge is where we run when we're being pursued. The fortress is where we stand to resist prolonged attacks. And trust is the inner certainty that keeps us firm even when circumstances seem hopeless. For He will deliver you from the snare of the fowler and from the deadly pestilence. This is a specific and concrete promise. The snare of the fowler represents hidden traps laid by our enemies, whether physical or spiritual. These are invisible snares, unexpected betrayals, evil schemes plotted in secret. The promise is that God protects us not only from visible dangers, but also from those we cannot see. The deadly pestilence had a very real meaning for ancient peoples, who often faced devastating epidemics. Today, we can interpret it as any disease, illness, or evil that threatens our health and well-being. It is protection against that which seeks to destroy us from the inside out. He will cover you with His feathers, and under His wings you will find refuge. His truth will be your shield and buckler. What a powerful and tender image. God is compared to a bird protecting her chicks under her wings. Anyone who has ever seen a hen shielding her little ones from a predator understands the fierceness of this protection. The mother bird not only covers her chicks, but is willing to die for them. The shield and the buckler were defensive weapons used by ancient soldiers. The shield was large and covered the entire body, while the buckler was smaller and used to deflect targeted blows. Together, they represent complete defense against any kind of attack. God's truth works the same way in our spiritual life. It protects us both from major assaults and from the small arrows of the enemy. You will not fear the terror of the night, nor the arrow that flies by day, nor the pestilence that walks in darkness, nor the destruction that wastes at noonday. This verse lists 4 types of dangers that essentially represent every possible form of threat. The terrors of the night are those fears that attack us in the darkness when we are most vulnerable. They're the nightmares, the worries that keep us awake, the anxieties that grow when the sun goes down. But they can also be real dangers that use the night as cover to strike. The arrow that flies by day represents open attacks, public accusations, visible persecutions. It's everything that comes against us directly and openly. The pestilence that walks in darkness speaks of diseases and evils that work silently, without our noticing, until they've already caused great harm. These are the illnesses that develop gradually, the betrayals that happen in secret. The destruction that wastes at noonday is the danger that comes in broad daylight, when we think we are safe. It's the unexpected attack, the tragedy that strikes when we least expect it. The promise is that we will not fear any of these dangers, not because they don't exist, but because we have a superior protection. 1,000 may fall at your side, and 10,000 at your right hand, but it will not come near you. This is one of the most striking verses in the psalm. It promises that even when destruction is happening all around us, even when others are falling, we will remain protected. It's not about being insensitive to the suffering of others, but about having the certainty that there is a special covering over those who dwell in the secret place of the Most High. Countless stories throughout the centuries confirm this promise. Soldiers who survived battles unscathed while everyone around them was wounded, people who escaped devastating accidents, families spared from epidemics that wiped out entire communities, all sharing a common testimony: the unexplainable protection of God. Only with your eyes will you look and see the reward of the wicked. This verse assures us that divine justice will not fail. We will see, with our own eyes, how those who practice evil will receive their consequences. We don't need to take revenge into our own hands, for God is the righteous judge who settles all accounts. This promise brings peace to our hearts when we are victims of injustice. We don't need to live tormented by anger or the desire for retaliation. We can rest knowing that God sees everything and that, in due time, everyone will reap what they have sown. For you, O Lord, are my refuge. You have made the Most High your dwelling. Here lies the secret. Protection is not automatic. It depends on a choice. We must make the Most High our dwelling place, our place of permanence. It is a conscious and deliberate decision to live in the presence of God, to seek His will, and to align our lives with His principles. When we make this choice, something extraordinary happens. God Himself becomes our personal refuge. He is not merely a refuge among many, but my refuge, an intimate and personal relationship of protection. No evil shall befall you, nor shall any plague come near your dwelling. What a bold promise. No evil, no plague. It's important to understand that this doesn't mean we will never face difficulties or challenges. What this promise guarantees is that no evil will be allowed to destroy us or separate us from God. Hardships may come, but they will have no power to defeat us. The dwelling represents our home, our family, everything that belongs to us. God's protection extends not only to us individually, but to everything under our responsibility. For He shall give His angels charge over you, to keep you in all your ways. They shall bear you up in their hands, lest you dash your foot against a stone. This is one of the most well-known and powerful promises of Psalm 91. God appoints His angels as personal guardians over those who trust in Him. It's not a single angel, but angels in the plural, a full guard. They receive specific orders to guard us in all our ways, not just in spiritual or religious matters, but in every area of life. At work, at home, on our journeys, in relationships, in everything. Moreover, they will bear us up in their hands. This is an act of protection, not passive. The angels do not merely watch. They intervene, they uphold, they prevent us from falling. The image of not stumbling upon a stone suggests that even the small accidents and stumbles of daily life are under divine supervision. You shall tread upon the lion and the cobra, the young lion and the serpent you shall trample underfoot. Here the promise goes beyond passive protection and gives us offensive authority. We will not only be protected from attacks, but will have power to subdue our enemies. The lion represents the strong and obvious enemy that attacks with brute force. The cobra represents the sneaky enemy that uses poison and deception. To tread and to trample underfoot are expressions of total dominance. We are not on equal ground with our enemies, nor in a battle with an uncertain outcome. We are in a position of complete authority over them. Because he has set his love upon me, therefore I will deliver him. I will set him on high, because he has known my name. Now we come to the most intimate part of the psalm, where God himself speaks in the first person. It is no longer the psalmist describing the promises, but God himself declaring what he will do for those who love him. The reason for protection is love. Because he has set his love upon me, not a casual or superficial love, but an intense, fervent, and prioritized love. When we love God above all else, he responds with extraordinary protection. I will set him on high means to place him in a safe, inaccessible place, like a fortress built on a high mountain, unreachable to enemies. God places us in a position of advantage, above circumstances and enemy attacks. He shall call upon me, and I will answer him. I will be with him in trouble. I will deliver him and honor him. God promises 3 specific things. First, he will answer when we call upon his name. Our prayer will not fall into emptiness or be ignored. There is a guarantee that we will be heard. Second, he will be with us in trouble. Notice it doesn't say there will be no trouble, but that he will be present in it. We are not immune to suffering, but we never suffer alone. Third, he will deliver us from trouble and honor us. The hardship is not permanent. There is a promise of deliverance, and more than that, of honor. God not only rescues us from the problem, but exalts us afterward. With long life, I will satisfy him and show him my salvation. The psalm ends with 2 final promises. Long life does not only mean living for many years, but living with quality, purpose, and fulfillment. It is a life that is full, complete, and meaningful. And the supreme promise, to see the salvation of God. This is the greatest protection of all. Not only to be guarded from temporary dangers, but to receive eternal salvation, to know God intimately, and to share in his glory. Begin each day by reading or reciting Psalm 91. Make it your first declaration of faith upon waking. By doing so, you are establishing a spiritual covering over your day, declaring that you are dwelling in the secret place of the Most High. Try to memorize the psalm. When its words are written on your heart, you can turn to them at any moment of need, even when you don't have a Bible in hand. Meditate on each verse, allowing its truths to penetrate deeply into your spirit. Use Psalm 91 as a prayer of protection over your family. Declare its promises over your children, spouse, and parents. Protection extends to those we love when we cover them in prayer. When you feel afraid, when you're facing a dangerous or threatening situation, recite Psalm 91 aloud. There is power in the audible declaration of the Word of God. Before starting a trip, whether short or long, read Psalm 91 and declare its protection over your journey. Many have testified to supernatural protection on dangerous roads and routes after praying this psalm. Throughout history, countless testimonies have confirmed the protective power of this psalm. During the Great World Wars, soldiers who carried Psalm 91 reported escaping unharmed from impossible situations. Missionaries in dangerous fields have testified to protection from wild animals, tropical diseases, and violent persecutors. There are reports of people who survived devastating accidents, natural disasters, and seemingly fatal situations, all witnessing that Psalm 91 was part of their daily prayer life. These are not isolated coincidences, but a consistent pattern that spans cultures, eras, and circumstances. It is important to understand that Psalm 91 is not a magic charm or an automatic formula. Its promises are activated by genuine faith and a real relationship with God. It is not enough to recite the words mechanically. One must believe in the one who inspired them and live according to his principles. The protection of Psalm 91 is conditional upon dwelling in the secret place of the Most High, that is, living in constant communion with God, seeking his will, and aligning our lives with his commandments. It is a life of intimacy and obedience that opens the door to these extraordinary promises. In an increasingly uncertain world, where new dangers seem to arise every day, Psalm 91 remains an anchor of hope and security. Its promises have not aged, lost power, or become obsolete. On the contrary, they are as relevant today as they were thousands of years ago. You do not need to live in fear of the future, of diseases, enemies, or visible and invisible dangers. There is protection available, complete and powerful, for all who choose to make God their refuge and fortress. Psalm 91 is more than a beautiful text or a traditional prayer. It is a covenant of protection between God and those who love him. It is a declaration of war against all forces that try to destroy us. It is the assurance that we are not alone, unprotected, or abandoned to chance. Make the choice today to dwell in the secret place of the Most High. Declare the promises of this powerful psalm over your life. Believe that every word is true, every promise is real, every guarantee is firm. Then watch as divine protection manifests in visible and invisible ways, guarding you, your family, and everything that belongs to you. The psalm of total protection is available to you. The promises are written. The protection is guaranteed. You only need to believe, declare, and dwell in the presence of the one who is powerful to keep you from all harm. May Psalm 91 be your daily shield, your fortress in the storms, your refuge in distress, and your assurance that, no matter what comes, you are safe in the hands of the Most High.